All right, friendly reminder. Remember, tomorrow you have 11 through 20. All of your assignments, Focus, Spice, and Map, are all due on Wednesday. Please make sure you're ready to go. Hopefully you took the time yesterday to do it. Yes? Hopefully, or you're going to have a rough week. So, Barron's book is due a week from Thursday. You better have it in class or don't come to my class. And I mean that completely and wholeheartedly. You will see me lose my mind. Because I've been telling you since before you had my class, you needed the damn book. Yes? Okay. I will lose my damn mind. Do not show up to my class without it. It is everything to our review. We'll be going through it in detail. You'll know exactly what you need. Do not show up to my class without a Barron's book a week from Thursday. Yes? Makeup work is due by Wednesday. If you're using a golden black card, it's due like now so I can put it in before you start doing it. All right, here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of, what type of government style did Mussolini start and Hitler support? What type of government style this is a whiteboard question, Zach. Nice job. I know it's been a little bit, man, but shouldn't be that out of practice. What is it? Abby? Fascism. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is the name of, Hitler's fighting style? First, he uses overhead bombing. Then he uses fast-moving tanks. Then he has overwhelming troops. This is going to work for about 3.5 years. Eventually it'll fail. What is it? Walker?
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg. On your whiteboard, what is the official start of the Holocaust? This is when they go, it's called the Night of Broken Glass. This is when they go and beat and start killing Jews, start collecting them. It officially starts. What is it? Raina? Kristallnacht is the official start. On your whiteboard, please tell me, when Hitler invades the Soviet Union, voiding his peace treaty with Russia, what do we call it? What is the code name? When Hitler invades the Soviet Union, voiding their peace treaty, what do we call it? I got 1, 2. Nope. That's in Africa. That's when they're trying to kill him. Nope. Good. What is it? Dylan? Operation Barbossa. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what do we call living room? That the Germans said that they had the right to expand because they had the population needs. It's a fancy German word. Cade?
Lebensraum.
Lebensraum. Guys, come on. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the first act, what is the official start of World War II? What day and what country is invaded? Come on, flip through your notes, it's in there. What country, what day? Just grab a handful for me. Good, come on, let's go. I got 4. Good. I need day. What is it, Carlota? September 1st, 1939, with the invasion of Poland. What is it called when you give in to the demands of an aggressor in order to avoid war? Okay, we're going to see this specifically, and best evidence of it would be the Berlin Conference. What is it, Zach? Appeasement. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is the name of the ruler of Russia during World War II? Okay, the USSR during World War II. Oh, God, people. Good. Who is it, Christian? Stalin. He died well before. On your whiteboard, please tell me, who's the American president during World War II? He also was during the Great Depression here, people. Tristan. FDR. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called when we can't sell guns to England? So we say, here, England, have some guns before we declare war, and in exchange, later, you can give us money for them after the war. What do we call that program? FDR's program. Did we get there? Okay. Good. Come on. I got 2. 2, 3, 4. Good. Sarah, what is both terms? There you go. Very nice. On your whiteboard, please tell me what event and what was the day and year of the United States being pulled into World War II? What is the event and what is the day? Oh God, guys, you should know this right off the top. It's very un-American not to know this. Good. Okay. Good. All right. I need some years here. Good. Payne, what is it?
December 7th, 1941, the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
There you go. The bombing of Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. People, you just kind of need to know that, you know? Can we agree? Largest attack on American soil up until World... is September 11th bigger? Yeah. I can't remember. Or is that just... Is it bigger? You should still know. Damn it. Here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me what... why did the Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor? What is the biggest reason why the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor? Good, I got one. Come on. 2, 3, 4. Good. Christian, what is it? We cut off their oil supply. On your whiteboard, please tell me what was the first act of war which would be considered voiding the Treaty of Versailles at all? What would be the first act of war that's considered voiding the Treaty of Versailles? Think about it. Good. Well, can't say China. I got 1, 2, 3. Good. What is it, Gunnar? Japan invades Manchuria. On your whiteboard, please tell me what is... please tell me, after the fall of France, what is the only country still fighting? They're going to be bombed incredibly heavily for about 3 months. 6 months they're going to get heavy bombing. 3 months, it's insane every single day. Almost 24 hours a day. What is it, Melu? Great Britain. All right, here we go. Okay, so we know that the Pearl Harbor is bombed because the Japanese are upset that we cut off their oil supply. Something that we would do as well, correct? We couldn't have oil, it would change our whole life, so it's important to keep it in perspective. Why did they pick Pearl Harbor? Who can raise their hand? Why Pearl Harbor? Why? What do you got? Colton?
Almost our whole Pacific fleet is over there.
There you go. We had 3 aircraft carriers. We had 5 aircraft carriers at the time. 3 of them are stationed in Pearl Harbor. Luckily, none of them were actually in port, which means we could continue to fight. It is important for you to understand that as soon as the United States goes to war with Japan and Germany, we declare it for both, okay? We are getting our butts kicked in the Pacific for a very long time. They broke up a huge part of our military, correct? Took time to rebuild our ships and stuff like that. But we are getting our butt kicked for a very long time. Very, very challenging. Okay? Keep in mind, they've also been on these islands for a very long time, so going ahead and fighting is very, very challenging. So, the U.S., when we joined in 1941, we're going to turn the tide of the war. Have you ever seen people? I own a t-shirt that says, back-to-back World War champs. Yeah? Okay? Well, the reason why we are credited with turning the war for all of Europe. World War I, did we play that big of an influence? Not really, but we were well-fed, ready to go, ready to start killing Germans, yeah? So we just pushed the tide. In World War II, we become a superpower after World War II because our technology is superior to everyone, and we have the best technology. We also have the largest military in the world at that time. Does that make sense? So the transition from World War I to World War II is going to be a huge, swift change post-World War II. Okay, so when we talk about Allied victory, now as soon as we get into World War II, the Russians want us to come to their aid. Why do the Russians want us to come to their aid? Who can raise their hand and tell me why? Why? Munson. Okay, absolutely. They don't have enough weapons. They don't have enough food. And they were surprise attack, correct? So they weren't ready for war. So when we get into the war, Stalin's like, hey, FDR, we need your help. And FDR's like, bro, we'll send you some food. We'll drop some guns. But I don't think that's the best way to start there. I want to start in Africa. So what we do with Winston Churchill, the United States, and England, start attacking Europe from Africa. Okay, because it was easier to clear that platform, then it was a good platform to then launch into Europe. Successful, it was smart. How do you think Stalin felt about it? He was pissed. It's important that you understand it was pissed because this decision directly causes what war? Cold War. Yes, absolutely. You need to understand the root of the Cold War is that the United States didn't give Russia the adequate resources it felt it deserved. So, we don't really do much to relieve Russia's pain. You saw Enemy at the Gates, correct? It was rough. Okay? So they really need the assistance. Okay? Now, the first real assault into taking territory in Europe is on June 6, 1944, and we affectionately call it D-Day. This is the deadliest day in history. Okay? It is the largest naval as well as land attack in the history of warfare. Okay? What it is the all of the United States, English, French, because remember the French got kicked off at Dunkirk, yes? Have you seen Dunkirk? It's a weird movie.
Yeah.
It's a weird movie. There's like no words.
There's no main character.
No, it's just weird. And like they didn't include some of the coolest parts. I mean, anyway. Dunkirk, all of the French military gets evacuated off that wasn't captured. They go to England, and then from England, everyone launches an attack to France, Normandy beaches, yes, we heard of this, okay? And then from there, this is the first stage of the attack. It will take about 9 months to finish off Hitler, but once D-Day starts, the ball starts rolling, and it's the advantage of the United States. The United States is going to supply about 85% of all the weapons, tanks, machinery, ships, all of that stuff. It is important to know that the French are going to lead the push. There's 7 waves on D-Day. The first 3 are non-existent. They get killed off immediately. Literally, get wiped off the face of the planet. Okay? Completely wiped out the first 3 waves. It's not until the 4th wave do we start actually having survivors on the beach. By the 7th wave, we're clearing ways, and the tanks are now coming ashore, and then it's just a slow push all the way to Berlin. The D-Day is the deadliest day in American history. It is the deadliest day in world history. You need to know that 97% of all French soldiers who hit that beach died that day. Why did the French lead the push? It's their country. Do you know who was the second highest amount of deaths that day? Canada. Canada. Well, they're a French colony, so they wanted to be in the front. Americans, we're going to lose about 170,000 soldiers that day. You need to understand the amount of death that's being on this beach. So, if you do not have a permission slip, goodbye. Here we go. If you do not have a permission slip, that's Bronson, that's Gunnar, Jamil, Christian, Grishma, Audie, Cal, Cade, Tristan, Jing Hao. What up?
Over the break, I went to the National World War II Museum in New Orleans.
Oh my God, isn't it amazing?
Exact.
It is so cool.
Exact. What days you go? I forgot Wait, were you visiting your sister? Yeah. Same. Wait, you were at Tulane? Yeah. Oh, we should have
Both of our sisters got to Tulane recently.
We should have hung out today. We should have had a blast.
I don't know why this isn't working. This is what happened to me in second period yesterday. Just play, my delight. Have most of you seen Saving Private Ryan? Oh my God, this is a great film. Matt Damon is in it. And all of the U.S. Army is going to save Ryan's character once again. I feel like every movie that man does, he's always stranded someplace and they have to go find him. It's always a rescue mission. Why? Why? Can anyone tell me why?
Yes, ma'am.
What's up?
Can I take this outside so I can do some of the
Yeah, of course. You may be coming in real quick. Why? Why? Hello? I did. I did right before class because it was doing this while I was prepping. It's in the transition that it pops up. See? No. All right, it's not working. Why isn't it working? Hello? Alright, it's not working. Sorry. You can tell I tried, yes? God damn it. I mean, gosh darn it. Why? I'll see what I can do, but it's not going to work now. I can tell you that. It worked this morning. I'll try one more time. Is that fair? Does anyone know why? Hello? No one's like tech savvy that could figure this out? Why doesn't anyone have a Mac? Sorry, guys.
Just Google it.
No, I like how my Wi-Fi in this room works. Have you tried your cell phone service in here? It's terrible. All right, can you go yell at them to come in, Munson, please? I'm moving on, I guess. God damn it. So annoying. All right, here we go. All right, so D-Day. It won't work. I'm not thrilled. It won't work, so we might as well move on. All right, so Red Army is going to be upset, of course. D-Day is going to, U.S. is going to start bombing German city. The first major one is going to be Dresden. We're going to kill 135,000 Germans, okay? April 30th, 1945, Hitler commits suicide. Don't you dare tell me that Hitler died in a theater. What movie am I referencing? Yes. When that movie came out, I was teaching at Wharton, and the kids were like, Miss Bennett, everyone knows Hitler died in the theater. It is such a good movie, and I kind of wish he did because he didn't go out on his terms. But he commits suicide in 1945. Don't you dare tell me Hitler's in Brazil either. Okay, he's not in Brazil. Argentina, whatever. No, he's not there either. He died in a bunker, and then they burned his body. Thank you kindly. April 30th, 1945, May 8th, they completely surrender. The war on the European front ends on May 8th, 1945. But the war is not over. Why? We're still fighting Japan. We've got the Pacific War. So the European War is going to end first. The Pacific War is going to continue to wage on. FDR, you're going to want to make a note of this, dies about a month before the war ends in Europe. Okay, FDR dies about a month before the war ends in Europe. He never sees it. Who is going to replace him? Truman. You need to know that. Make sure you write that down. Truman is going to become president of the United States, and he's going to have some really tough decisions to make. Now, we are going to turn the tide in the Pacific after we win the war in Europe. Why? We're sending all. We're not fighting a war on two fronts. We're only fighting it on one front. This is a big change. Okay? So, we're going to start. We break the code. It's called magic. You do need to make a note of that. AP likes it. We did break the Japanese code. It's called magic. Have you ever seen the, what do we call the Hitler's code? Does anyone know? It's Enigma. It is Enigma. It's, if you've ever seen The Imitation Game, it's a good movie. That's how they broke it. In this called Enigma, but in the Pacific they called it Magic. So we discovered the Japanese plans, we're breaking and we're listening in. We win the Battle of Midway. You need to know that. We win the Battle of Midway in June 4th, 1942. It is the turning point of the war. Battle of Midway is also one of the bloodiest battles in the Pacific. It has the highest specific death count of Americans. Battle of Midway is fought over. Does everyone know? There are very few airports in the Pacific at this time. I'm talking about on a island, they have a runway. It's big enough to have a runway on it. Midway is one of the few islands that have it, on top of the fact it's midway between Asia and the United States. It is a perfect location. It is a strategic, important position, and so much so that we're going to send over 400,000 Marines to their death. Yeah, we kill a lot of people on Midway, battling for the air control. With air control, with airplanes, we can send bombing, all of that dogfights and all that stuff. It's a very big deal. When you hear about Marines and how boss they are, correct, that they can kill you 10, 12 different ways, yes. The reason they have that reputation is the Battle of Midway. The amount of things they saw, the amount of things they accomplished is such a huge deal. It's literally a turning point. You do need to know that. So, U.S. take the offensive, engage in island hopping strategy. You need to write that down. Island hopping strategy was created by MacArthur, M-A-C, capital A, R-T-H-U-R. MacArthur comes up with the island hopping strategy. The reason why he does this is because taking island after island after island becomes too much of casualties. So what he decides is he's like, we don't need to clear every island. We just need the islands of importance. So it's called island hopping. He only takes the big islands that he needs to have in order to continue to complete his supply chain. And it saves thousands, hundreds of thousands of American lives. Okay? Two major battles you also need to know is Iwo Jima. Okay, why should you know Iwo Jima? What did they do on the top of the mountain of Iwo Jima? They raised the American flag. If you go, there's a Pacific War Monument, yes, in Washington, D.C., where 7 U.S. soldiers are holding up the flag, yes? Okay, Iwo Jima, there's a movie called Iwo Jima. It's very, very good. It talks about the different lives of all of the people there. Okinawa, okay? You're going to see that Okinawa is going to be a 2-month battle. Okinawa also has an airplane strip on it, hence why it's so important to both sides. There's only so many aircraft carriers during World War II. Having an actual place to land your planes is a huge deal. Another major part why Okinawa is such a big deal, it is from that airport you can bomb Japan. So a huge turning point for that. It takes about 2 months to do. At this point, you're going to see straight up suicide bombers. Japan's getting incredibly desperate. Of course, if we can start bombing from planes, Japan, we must be pretty close. One of the most jarring scenes from the Pacific, which is on HBO, which you can pull it up any day you want if you have HBO on demand, is that they're literally luring Americans in, and then they're just blowing up bombs and killing as many Americans and themselves as possible. We know this term from kamikaze, which are suicide bombers. When we typically think of kamikazes, what do we think of? Planes. But we also have men strapping bombs to themselves and going in and trying to get captured and then blowing themselves up. The reason is that if you did not sacrifice yourself for Japan, your family could be punished. Also, they really thought that the Americans taking over Japan would be the worst thing on the planet. Okay, so there's a whole complex thing. No dishonor. Remember the samurai code, the Bushido? Yes? All of that's also playing into this. So these are 2 major battles during it. So the U.S. is going to win after we start firebombing Tokyo in March 1945. We kill 100,000 people. It is important. We have a casualty over there. It is important for you to understand that when we bomb cities, and Americans are bombing cities, you're wiping out men, women, and children. The Germans are doing it, the Americans are doing it, the Japanese are doing it. Of course, we only have 1 attack on American soil. What's that attack, Bronson? Pearl Harbor. So, Luckily for us, they didn't bomb the coastline of California or anything like that. They couldn't get that close. However, we are open bombing their cities. 25% of all buildings in Tokyo are completely destroyed. Okay, so we are going to decide to drop the atomic bomb. The first one is going to hit Hiroshima in August of 1945. Now, Truman, you need to write his name, is going to make that decision. Truman is going to make that decision because he truly believes it'll save American lives. The generals came together and they discussed that taking the islands of Japan, taking the actual islands of Japan, all 9 of them, would cost 1 million soldiers their life. 1 million American soldiers. Okay? And Truman did not want that on his consciousness. Now, during this time, we had the technology evolve. What is the name of the secret project that this was under? Zach?
Manhattan.
The Manhattan Project. You need to write that down. The Manhattan Project. No, it's the Manhattan Project. The Manhattan Project was run by scientists from all around the world. We had a German one. We had Einstein was helping out a little bit. We have people from all around the world helping. At the same time the Manhattan Project is going, the Germans are doing the same thing over in Germany. Who wins? We do. Okay, they collapse. We're still doing it. We have that technology. Truman is the only president in history who's decided to use the atomic bomb. It is important for you to understand he did it thinking it would save American lives. And most historians to this day do believe that it did save lives. It is important to know that 87% of both cities, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that the bombs were dropped on, were killed. Okay, the rest of the population had severe deformities. Okay, so the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima first. We gave them 1 week to surrender. Japan the world's never seen this technology. We didn't even tell Stalin we had this technology until about 15 minutes before we dropped the bomb. Think about it. How happy do you think Stalin is knowing that we had this technology and we didn't tell him? Really, really pissed. You have to see the connections here. So Stalin wanted help as soon as the Americans joined the war. Did we come to their aid immediately? No. We have this secret technology. We actually had it developed in 44. Okay, at the end of 44, we had this technology. And Stalin's sitting here saying, you had this technology. We could have saved millions and millions of Russians, for God's sake, because they're dying at such a fast rate. And you didn't do anything to help us. How do you think he feels about America right now? You think he feels betrayed? You think they're trying to screw him? Absolutely. Hence why we get the Cold War here in a few minutes. So, we dropped the first bomb, and Japan kind of calls our bluff, saying that, no, we're not going to surrender. So, after Hiroshima, we dropped the second bomb a week later in Nagasaki. Now, we had 2 atomic bombs. We did not have 3. They called our bluff on the first one. They thought, who would have 2 of these? Literally destroys humanity. We had 2. We dropped 2. And the Japanese surrender within an hour of the second bomb being dropped. So they do a total surrender, and they sign over. Emperor Hirohito surrenders unconditionally in August 2nd, 1945. Unconditionally. Which means the United States gets handed Japan. And we stay there for about 10 years. Okay? So, with Hiroshima and the dropping of the bomb, it's pretty severe, obviously. Okay? So, when we talk about the first bomb is going to drop, obviously the stereotypical mushroom cloud, yes? Okay? This is what Nagasaki looks like. Remember, now you have to keep in mind the 2 targets that we picked, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We didn't bomb Tokyo. We didn't. We easily could have. It's the largest city in Japan. We could have bombed it. We chose not to. Why did we choose Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Does anyone know? Gunnar. They're ports, but more importantly, what are in those port cities? What? No, it's military ports. That's where a lot of their war making capabilities were coming from. So we did choose ports that were military targets and not civilian targets. So please keep in mind. Okay, here's the destruction. This is where right near the bomb where it blew up. Okay, people. Oh yeah. Hi. Sorry. This is kind of graphic. Should have warned you. The heat from the atomic bomb was so bad. Within the first 3 miles of where the bomb dropped, you're just completely, not even liquefied, you're just obliterated. You just don't exist anymore. As you radiate out, within from 3 to 5 miles out, your skin melts. And that's what it looks like. Your skin just completely melts. And after 5 miles to 8 miles, you're essentially, what's happening is deformities and all that stuff. Here we just have corpses in the middle of, like, they're just completely burned. No one in the world has ever seen anything like this. Okay, so when you start seeing skin deformities and stuff like that, that means you're in like the 4 to 8 miles from the bomb dropped. Here is what happens if you're within 3 to 4. Okay, that building is still there. There is a memorial. That's essentially ground zero. You can go, if you go to Nagasaki or Hiroshima today, this is in Hiroshima, there's a spot where they've marked where the actual bomb hit that you can go see. A big thing that happened, I think 3 or 4 years ago, while Obama was president, he was the first president to go to Hiroshima and pay his respects there. I think we can all agree it's a terrible moment in human history. However, the justification was to save an estimated 1 million American lives. Obviously, here in America, we are pretty damn excited about it. Here is MacArthur signing over the treaty. If you go to Pearl Harbor today, you can see where the war officially started with the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the USS Arizona. You can also see the ship where MacArthur signed his treaty with the Japanese. So it's the bookends of both wars, which is really cool. Okay. This is what Hiroshima looks like today. As you can see, it has recovered. And this is the actual memorial where the bomb actually dropped if you go and see it today. So, all right, I'm going to keep going a little bit though. So what you're going to see is that we're going to set up wartime occupation. When you lose a war, you get occupied, yes? Okay? So United States is going to obviously occupy Japan. We're going to dismantle this whole reign. We're going to implement U.S.-friendly people. We're going to have Indochina, collaboration, resistance. You need to know that people aren't happy when the Americans come in and the victors of war. Now, I'm going to fly through the genocide of the Holocaust. You should be kind of aware of it, yes? Hello? Don't you spend a lot of time in 8th grade talking about it? Okay, so it's not in no way disrespecting to the Jews, but you guys already know a ton of information about it, yes? Okay, so the Nazi genocide, of course, we know they're targeting Jews, gypsies, homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses as well. They tried to kick them all out, but then they decided just to execute. The final solution is what it's called. You should know that term. The Holocaust is known as the final solution, implemented by Hitler, of course. Around 1.4 million Jews are going to be executed. It's important to know that there's going to be about, at the end, with everyone included, it's going to be over 2 million people being executed. These are your mental, mental disabilities, physical disabilities, any of those undesirable characteristics that they considered. So the final solution, it's going to put all of European Jews in these death camps. Okay, obviously, which is the worst death camp that had the largest total? Auschwitz, absolutely. And that's going to occur. So Jews are going to start being deported in what we call officially the Holocaust. They're going to have an estimated 5.7 worldwide that are going to be executed. The 2 million is going to be just in Germany. We're going to have 5.7 throughout the entire world. That is shockingly horrifying. Can we agree? That is systematic destruction of a culture and a race. Okay? The Jewish resistance, you need to know, ladies and gentlemen, they're fighting back tooth and nail every single opportunity they possibly can. The reason why it was so bad is because people let that happen. People let it happen. Because it wasn't happening to them, they didn't get involved. Warsaw Ghetto is going to overthrow. Women are going to be fighting, as we know. Okay, women are going to go into the war place. We all know Susie Riveter, right? Rosie the Riveter. Okay, comfort women. We've talked about them. They're going to be fighting, and then I'm going to pick up here for the Cold War starting tomorrow. All right. I am so sorry about my computer here, people. If I can get it, I will show it to you tomorrow.